Good evening. Tonight we're going to start with lesson 19 in our unit 4. Add and subtract fractions with like units. So now you have Eva's cakes and Shen's cakes. Now if we just looked at this and we wanted to find out how many cakes they have all together, you would just count that Eva has 4, Shen has 3, which would make a total of 7. 4 plus 3. But what happens if we were to cut it up? This picture represents how much cake Eva and Shen have left after sharing their cakes with their families. What do you notice? Well, I notice that the cake that's left has been cut up into 8s. And we know that Eva, well, she has 4 8s, and Shen has 3 8s left over. So if we want to find out altogether how much cake is left, we would take Ava's amount, 4 8s, plus Shen's amount, because we're doing this all together. We want to find out how many pieces are all left all together. We're going to be adding, and we're left with 7 8s. So 7 8s of this cake is left over. And if you notice, that makes sense because it's 1/8 from being a whole right here. This would be 1/8 left from being a whole. So we've got 7 8s, and we used a number bond to break it up. We have 4 8s, and then we have 3 8s. And when we have these words that says 8s, we've done this before, we talked about it, it's called unit form. And these are written out in unit form. So we have 4 8s plus 3 8s is equal to 7 8s. And we also have it written, this is like a fact family, 3 8s plus 4 8s equals 7 8s. We have 7 8s take away 3 8s equals 4 8s. 7 8s minus 4 8s is 3 8s. Again, these are just fact families, but in unit form. Next one, we have 8 tenths. And we're showing that there's 6 tenths, but we don't know the missing side of this number bond. Well, 6 plus what gives us 8? And we could say it would be 2 tenths. 2 tenths is equal to 8 tenths. So we're going to write 2 tenths in the number bond. Then over on this side, we have it written a different way. Blank equals 6 tenths equals 6 tenths equals 8 tenths. We're going to write it out as 2 tenths. And then we're subtracting. 8 tenths take away 6 tenths. Another way of finding that, the missing number, the missing unit would be 2 tenths. And 8 tenths take away how much tenths gives us 6 tenths? And we fill it in as 2 tenths. 3 fifths plus 2 fifths equals how many fifths? Try to see if you could figure out the answer. 4 ninths plus what gives us 8 ninths? 5 sixths minus 1 sixth is how many sixths? 11 twelfths take away 6 twelfths is how many twelfths? Now we have 4 eighths plus 3 eighths equals 7 eighths. And we want to see how we can write that out. Well, 4 eighths as a fraction just looks like that. Plus 3 eighths. Again, we're taking the unit form and making it into a fraction. So 4 eighths plus 3 eighths, well, that's going to give us 7 eighths. When the denominator is the same, then we keep the denominator the same. And we only add the numerator to get to 7. So that's what's fun about adding like denominators, because the denominator always stays the same. When you move on to 5th grade, you're going to see how you're going to add unlike denominators. And that's a whole other ballgame. 8 tenths minus 6 tenths is equal to 2 tenths. So right now it's written as in unit form, and we're going to make it into fractions. So we have 8 tenths, take away 6 tenths, and that's going to give us 2 tenths. Again, the denominator are alike, so it stays the same. The only thing that we're kind of subtracting would be the numerator. 5/10 plus 3/10. Well, what is that going to give us? It's going to give us the 8 in the numerator, and the denominator are alike, so they stay the same. And we have a total of altogether 8/10. Now, look at 8/10 and ask yourself, can it be simplified, reduced in lowest terms? What number does 8 and 10 have in common? Well, they have 2. Okay, I want you guys to get into the habit of simplifying fractions, because as you get more involved into fractions, and especially into later grade levels, it's going to be very important to always reduce and simplify your fractions. So in the numerator, you've got a 4. And in the denominator, you have a 5, because we divided the top and the bottom by 2. So 4/5 is equivalent to 8/10, and it's also simplified from 8/10 to 4/5. 6/8 minus 4/8. Okay, let's get the fraction bar. We see that the 8s is alike. They have like denominators, so we're keeping that the same. In the numerator, 6 minus 4, well, that's 2. 2/8. Now, to get into this habit, actually the question you should be asking yourself, can 2/8 be simplified? Can it be reduced? Does 2 and 8 have anything in common? Well, it does. It has a 2. It has 2 in common. So in the numerator, we have a 1, and in the denominator, we have a 4. So 1/4 is simplified from 2/8. 1/4 and 2/8 are equivalent fractions. Okay, moving on. 3/3 plus 1/3 is equal to how much? Well, we have 4 in the numerator, and the denominator stays the same because it's a 3. But this is what we call a fraction greater than 1, or a fraction, or an improper fraction. And another way of saying that, we know that 3/3 is a whole. We're left with this fraction, so it would be 1 and 1/3. We're going to rename it as a mixed number, 1 and 1/3. 5/5 take away 2/5 is how much? Well, again, our fraction bar, our denominator stays the same because it's like, so I'm going to keep the 5/5. And in the numerator, we're going to subtract 5 minus 2. Well, that's a 3. So 5/5 take away 2/5 is 3/5. Also written as 3/5 if we want to go back to that unit form. 2/4 plus 1/4. Another strategy to use is number lines. And if we look on the number line and find where 2/4 is, that is right here. This is cut up into fourths, and it's asking you to go up 1/4. So if I move up 1/4, that will bring us to 3/4. And if we go up another one, that would be 4/4. So 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. All right, here we go. We want to show how 7/5 minus 3/5 is equal to 4/5 using a number line. Now, if we know this is cut up into fifths, I can say that the whole here would be, 5/5, because it's cut up into fifths. So where would 7/5 be? 7/5 would be about here. This is 7/5. But I'm subtracting, and I'm moving down 3/5. So here we go. We got 1, 2, 3. So we went down by 3/5, and we landed on 4/5. So this is a way of showing how 7/5 minus 3/5 equals 4/5 is by using a number line. 7/10 minus 5/10 is equal to what? I'm going to use a number line to figure that out. This number line is cut up into tenths, so we're going to find where 7/10 is. So 7/10 would be about, let's see, it's 9, 8, this is 7/10 right here. Here's 7/10. And we need to go all the way down to 5/10. So here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We ended up here, and that is at 2 tenths. So 7/10 take away 5/10 is 5/10 take away is 2/10. And the number line helped us out with that. 8/8 minus 3/8. All right, so let's start working and finding where 8/8 would be. 8/8 would be about here because, right, that is a whole. 8/8 represents a whole. And we're moving down 3/8. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we ended up here and we went down 3/8. So what is that at? That is at 5/8. So 8/8 minus 3/8 is equal to 5/8. Don't judge me. I'm awesome, but not perfect. All right, let's see how awesome you could be by solving the next two problems. 7/8 minus 4/8 is equal to what? And I want to see your number lines tomorrow to show me how this looks. 5/10 plus 7/10 is how many tenths? And bring in your number lines to show the mixed number. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. All right, you should be excited. Good job tonight. We'll practice this more tomorrow. Have a good night.